Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Game News Roundup. Let me actually turn the thing on with the text, and it is the Game News Roundup. We are catching up on news from pretty much last week, a little bit from today, because this is being recorded live. Twitch.tv/TrunksWD on Monday, January 9th, 2023. First things first, Sony at its CES 2023 showcase announced the PlayStation 5 has sold over 30 million units worldwide. 30 million sold. It's not shipped. It is sell-through. So in consumers' hands, or more or less in consumers' hands, assuming they've been opened at this point. But yeah, over 30 million PS5s has been sold worldwide. And now I know people have mentioned, I've seen on Twitter, why don't we have our estimates on VGChartz over 30 million yet? It's because I'm waiting on certain data to finish up the December estimates to make them more accurate when I do initially post them. So our current estimates are through December 10th, which means we are 3 weeks missing. 3 weeks missing of December 2022, which would easily put us well over 30 million sold worldwide for the PS5 when we finish up the last few weeks of the month. So that is the main. We need more data. We need more data. Well, you know what? The holidays are the hardest time to track figures, and we're more likely to have our estimates be further off than usual just because we get such a small amount of data, and then sales are so much higher that if sales are a little bit higher or lower than certain places, we have more odds of over-tracking or under-tracking about more than we normally would. So I'm waiting for some more data to come in. Hopefully by the end of this week, the data I want will be in, and then I can post December 17th data on Friday, and then the last 2 weeks of December. Sometime next week, I'm thinking maybe Monday and Wednesday or Monday and Thursday of next week. So hopefully by the end of next week, all of December will be out. And then potentially going forward with 2023, I might wait for all the weekly and monthly data to come in before I do the estimates each month. So there might be a bit of a delay, but it does mean our initial estimates, when they're posted, will be more accurate and closer to the actual sales. Although, mind you, they are still estimates. And some data only comes out, every 3 quarters with Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft's quarterly earnings, although Microsoft hasn't shared their actual shipment figures in a long time. But we do get enough figures from them to get a rough idea. Usually they've been saying, yes, the Xbox Series X and S has been continuing to be the fastest selling Xbox generation ever. So we know it's tracking ahead of the Xbox One, Xbox 360, original Xbox. And they can say, oh yeah, sales are up or down compared to last year or the previous quarter, stuff like that. Versus Nintendo and Sony, which do share their quarterly shipment figures, every 3 months. So we know what their shipment figures are. And of course, us doing sell-through, there's almost always going to be a gap between sell-through and shipment. Even if a console is selling out, it still takes a little bit of time for those consoles to get to retail and, warehouses and stuff, and then get sold. So there's a little bit of a gap. Obviously, the gap between sold and, shipment and sold is by far the smallest with the PS5. Medium, you could say, with the Series X and S, and the biggest gap for the Switch, generally speaking. So, but yeah, PS5, over 30 million units sold worldwide at the end of December. But this is up from 20 million sell-through in June 2022 and 10 million sell-through in July 2021. Now, it hitting 20 million in June 2022, which means it has sold 10 million units in the last 6 months. So potentially we could be seeing 20 million PS5 sold in 2023. Although with the economy not doing the best and whatnot, I would think maybe more like 17 or 18 million PS5s in 2023. But who knows? We'll find out. We'll see what Sony says. How things look by the end of the year. You never know. Could be well over 20 million. Depends on how much they're able to ship, and if the economy not being as strong, we'll see supply and demand and all that stuff. Also, I wouldn't be surprised and would expect the PS5 is most likely to be the best-selling video game console in 2023, being probably a little bit ahead of the Switch, as the Switch, and it's in its later years, which sales will be declining from here on out for the Switch from 1 year to the next year. So yeah, I would expect PS5 number 1, Switch number 2, and Series X and S in third. In the order of sales. Now, how much? As I said, maybe 17 or 18, maybe upwards, a max of 20 million for the PS5, and a hair below that for the Switch. And then Series X and S, I would expect sales to be up compared to this year, but obviously still in third place. Other sales figures. Naughty Dog has revealed The Last of Us series, so all the Last of Us games combined, have sold over 37 million units worldwide, as well as releasing a concept art for the upcoming Last of Us multiplayer game. We've only seen some concept art. We don't know much about it at this point, and we'll see what happens. I'm expecting we're not seeing this until probably 2024, is my guess, especially with Spider-Man being the big game from Sony this year for the holidays. So, but yeah, 37 million Last of Us series. Moving on, Neil Druckmann, the Naughty Dog co-president and co-creator of Last of Us, was asked about Last of Us Part 3. He couldn't comment one way or the other if there will or will not be a Last of Us Part 3, but he does say, I think there's more story to tell. Now, does that mean it's Last of Us 3, or is it a different story with different characters? So there'll be a Last of Us something else title? He also said, we have no plans to tell any stories beyond adapting the games. We won't run into the same issues as Game of Thrones. Since Part 2 doesn't end on a cliffhanger. Not that I'm going to say much about the story in Last of Us Part 2, but yeah. There's a chance we might get Last of Us Part 3, or at least some other Last of Us games set in, in the same Last of Us universe. Also at CES Showcase, Sony announced an accessibility controller kit called Project Leonardo. If you want to see some pictures here, you might think, well, that's really weird looking. It's for accessibility, to make it easier for everyone to use. Which stuff does come apart a bit. Because I know Xbox has its own accessibility controller. I mean, this is always good news. In my opinion, this is always good news to make games easier to play, more accessible to more people out there. Whether, I always say I wish more games, had more accessibility features. Always a plus thing. And maybe even, not that I expect, say Elden Ring to get an easy mode, or a Dark Souls game to get an easy mode. But, there's a lot of people don't play those games because of their difficulty. But, so even games having, say, easier modes generally could mean games being a little bit more accessible. But yeah, when is this coming out? I don't know. Let's see. I really think the writers at Naughty Dog need to do some soul searching before Last of Us 3 and understand how human beings grieve, and more to the point, how catharsis works. Yeah, well, they generally are one of the better developers at writing stories. They're not, say, Rockstar with, say, GTA 5 or especially Red Dead Redemption 2 with their fantastic stories. But they're definitely on the better. I'm definitely one of the better developers when it comes to creating stories for games. But yeah, some details on the controller. But yeah, Sony worked with accessibility experts and incredible organizations like Able Gamers, Special Effects, and Stack Up to help design the controller. It's highly customizable. I think the controller things come off and the different buttons. But definitely, again, I'm definitely all in favor of these accessibility controllers. Now, we got Sony having one, Microsoft having one. Hopefully, maybe Nintendo will get one at some point in the future. Also from CES, Gran Turismo 7 is getting a free update to have support for PlayStation VR 2. So if you have Gran Turismo 7, playing the game PlayStation VR 2, you will be able to play Gran Turismo 7 using PSVR 2. And one other thing with PSVR 2, Beat Saber's confirmed coming to PSVR 2. It's pretty much on all VR headsets. It's like one of the standout VR games. It's almost, how do I describe it? I'm sure most of you know what it is, but it's basically a Guitar Hero or Rock Band, except with lightsabers. Best way to describe it, considering it's already out on PlayStation VR 1, the original, and obviously PSVR kits. But yeah, a couple of games, PSVR 2 support. Steam, over this weekend, we got news from today. Steam, for the first time ever, reached 10 million concurrent in-game players. So 10 million people, not just signed into Steam, but 10 million people on Steam playing games at the same time. Obviously, all different games. This is a new record for Steam. It reached a peak on Saturday, January 7th of 10.28 million players. It also set a record for the most players signed in at the same time on Steam at 33.08 million players. Just signed in. Obviously, it doesn't mean you're playing games. They just have Steam open. And the first time Steam had ever topped 30 million was in October 2022. So since October 2022, we had a record of 3 million more players compared to the record of 30 million. So more records being broken on Steam. It seems to be fairly constant. If we look at, yeah, here we go, all time here. So we've got this one here. It's the number of login players. Wow, it actually crossed 1 million for the first time in 2008, and then it's like up, and then, I wonder why it went up in March 2020. Oh yeah, the pandemic, and of course it goes down, but consistently it's still going up, and down here is the number of in-game players in games at any given time. And again, for the first time, it crossed 10 million at the same time. Rumor, again, stress rumor, according to a report from Windows Central, Microsoft is planning to hold an Xbox showcase later this month called Developer Direct. It's going to be a focus on games that are scheduled to release over the coming months, so not looking far out, because Microsoft showcased a lot of games coming out over the last 12 months in June of 2022, so that would be through, say, June 2023. The report says the showcase will take place on January 25th at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and be on Twitch and YouTube. And it will be smaller than the usual E3 showcases that Microsoft normally holds. But yeah, January showcase, according to the report, will be hosted by Xbox and Bethesda. Will feature deep dives into Redfall, Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, and some content from ZeniMax Online Studio. So a bigger look into other games. Oh my goodness, it is Mad. What's up, Mad? How are you doing? I'm thinking, I think you're back in the UK, right? I know you were in Colorado for a while. You're good? That's good. I'm not doing too bad. Getting better. Doing physical therapy at the moment. Got a bad hip and other stuff and crap. But yeah, rumor, Xbox showcase. I mean, it makes sense. Redfall, Minecraft Legends, and Forza Motorsport are all scheduled to come out in the first half of this year. Now, obviously, some people might be thinking, Starfield. According to the report, Starfield will have its own showcase later on after this one. I don't know, February or March or something. Who knows? And I would assume with the deep dives of Redfall and whatnot, we'll get actual release dates for them. Again, these are all rumors. Insiders, they get the details and maybe plans change, or maybe they're completely wrong. Who knows? But if it does take place on January 25th, we will probably hear about it either this week or next week in an official announcement of what the plans are, which I'm in favor of Microsoft doing some smaller gaming showcases, because they generally have just been doing E3/not E3, basically the big showcase in June of each year. Like, yeah, I'm down with, a couple of other smaller showcases, to spread things out a bit. Not everything has to be on one big, massive showcase. You showcase 40 games in 90 minutes or, 2 hours or whatever. You're not going to remember everything, versus if you have other smaller showcases showcasing games that are coming out over the next, 3, 4, 5 months. I think I'm definitely in favor of this, for sure. Because I know Nintendo does that. They hold a lot of Nintendo Directs. Some are bigger. A lot of them, could be just 20 minutes and just showcasing a handful of games. But, yeah. We'll see if this turns out to be true or not. Another thing announced from today, Xbox and Oreo have partnered up. We're getting some Xbox-themed Oreos. Why not, I guess? As you can see, we'll have one with an Xbox logo. We got the ABXY of the Xbox controller. We got an up arrow. And I guess one that just has the Oreo logo. Maybe that's just the back of it. That'll just have the Oreo logo. But yeah, this was announced today. It's going to be available in 22 countries later this month. Yeah, the limited edition Xbox-themed Oreo cookies. Yeah, Xbox logo, ABXY, controller buttons, and a directional arrow. You'll be able to scan the cookies. I'm assuming maybe inside the wrapper or something, be someplace you can scan, and you can earn prizes. If I go to the original Xbox Wire post, you can see some things you can win here. Oreo-themed colors for Sea of Thieves. Halo skin with Oreo colors, I guess, because you see the white and they got the little black dots for Oreos. So the Oreo unboxing on stream is what I'm hearing. Totally. I don't really eat Oreos that often. Oh, and Forza as well. with the colors. And I think they're also going to have custom Oreo hardware, Xbox consoles, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate memberships, and more can also be won, which was also announced during this. A couple of other things. There's always something with Activision Blizzard. We'll keep this one quick. UK Regulators, the Competition and Markets Authority, extended their deadline from March 1st to April 26th for the last day where they can give their findings, their findings for if they're going to approve or not approve Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition. Man, why is it always like a tongue twister for me just saying Activision Blizzard acquisition? I don't know. We'll see. As I've mentioned, the UK, European Union, and the US are the big three we're really waiting on. I mean, there's a lot of other places that need to approve it, but those are the big three. And again, as I've always mentioned, it has been approved in Chile, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Serbia. Last bit of news. NetEase Games has acquired SkyBox Labs, who's mainly known for co-developing and assisting in development of other games, mainly with Xbox, Wizards of the Coast, and EA. They have helped develop Halo Infinite, Minecraft, Age of Empires 2 HD expansions, EA Sports UFC, as well as some other games. But they have been acquired by NetEase Games. I think that's going to be about it for the Game News Roundup. I used to do like all the gaming news, big and small, but we'll keep it a little bit shorter. And I guess I could quickly go over the December UK charts, from which data from GFK and GSD, and reported by Games Industry. Nintendo Switch, best-selling console in the UK. PS5 in second, Series X and S in third. PS5 sales are up year over year. Switch and Series X and S sales are down year over year. Over 460,000 video game consoles were sold in the UK in December. Not up-weighted, mind you. I know these hardware figures are missing some retailers. I've heard that's basically a family-friendly retail, which might be Smith's, is what I've been guessing, and other people have been figuring out, like, that would make the most sense to be the one retailer they're missing. Which is why when they finally get up-weighted figures, so extrapolating to 100% of the markets or whatever they're missing, they usually up-weight Switch more, because I think Smith's is more family-friendly, so Switch would do better there than the PlayStation 5 or Series X and S. Software sales-wise, 6.4 million games were sold, 2.85 million digital versus 3.5 million retail games. FIFA 23, best-selling game in December. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in second place. Modern Warfare 2 sales are pretty even between Xbox and PlayStation. PlayStation 5 and 4 versions combined accounted for 54% of sales, and while the Xbox version accounted for 46%. Xbox version includes the Series X and S and the Xbox One versions in one package. And God of War Ragnarok was the third best-selling game in December in the UK. However, if you were to combine Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet sales, it actually would have come in third place. But they are separated into separate releases, because of course they are. But yeah, UK sales. It also was the UK. We do have some yearly charts. Spain and UK 2022 sales. There were Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console in the UK. Sales were down 27.5% year-on-year. PS5 was the second best-selling console, but sales were down by nearly 33% compared to the previous year. And Series X and S came in third place, but had the smallest drop year-over-year. Sales down nearly 15%. PS5 and Series X stock, again, continue to have supply issues. Series S and Switch are generally easier to find. And yeah, those supply shortages, main reason why those sales are down year-over-year. But yeah, there were over 2 million video game consoles sold in the UK in 2022, which is down 29% compared to 2021. And also between the three consoles in the UK in all of 2022, there was less than 60,000 units separating the Switch, PS5, and Series X and S. And there were also 34.2 million games sold in the UK in all of 2022. Spain yearly chart also came out. Switch handily in first place in Spain. 460,000 units sold in 2022 in Spain. Up from 445,000 in 2021, which is kind of crazy that sales are actually up. Even if it is slightly, but up at all. PS5, Second best-selling console with around 180,000 units, which is a drop from 268,000 units in 2021. Again, supply issues. And Series X and S came in third place with sales over 96,000 units. This is up from 64,000 units in 2021. And then software-wise, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the best-selling game in Spain, with about 350,000 units sold. FIFA 23 PS4 version in the second. Pokemon Legends Arceus. I have a typo there. Don't mind me, that happens from time to time. Is in third place. Nintendo Switch Sports, which we actually did get some figures, 490,000. Mario Kart, FIFA 23, you got a bunch of Switch games. God of War Ragnarok PS4 version in 10th, PS5 version in 12th. So, but yeah, that is Spain yearly charts. So, yeah. I guess at this point, that'll do it for the Game News Roundup. So, as always, if you've been watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I've been inching up a little bit each month. So, again, hope you all enjoyed. And, yeah, see you all next time for some more Game News Roundup.